All right, we'll call the meeting to order. This is Ways and Means Committee meeting. Should have been the last one of the year, but I think it's now the next to the last until we decide to schedule another one. Then it'll be the next to the next to the last. But we've got two bills on the calendar for today, and before everybody leaves, we're going to have another meeting this afternoon after the Rules Committee, so it'll be upon adjournment of rules. And we have one bill that we need to address. And so if y'all will hang around, Rules is meeting at 3 o'clock, so I don't know how long that'll take, but I would imagine we'd be at 3:15 or 3:30 whenever Rules is complete, that we will meet for about 5 minutes.
Will we be back up here, Mr. Chairman, or over there? We don't know yet.
We will circle up in the Rules Committee room, so we won't have to come over here and go back. So right after Rules, just hang around Rules. We'll meet. We'll do it. All right, the first bill on the calendar is SB 216, Senator Henson. We're operating off of LC 440345.
Mr. Chairman, this is it's a very simple bill. Basically, when the city of Tucker was being incorporated, it wasn't fully formed and the council wasn't together. So Representative Jacobs put this amendment in the law that said for a city that was created after May 4th, 2015, basically in a county that has the equalized homestead option sales tax, it only really affected Tucker at the time, that the county would go ahead and spend money for the roads and maintenances. All the other cities, the city council gets the SPLOST money, and they enter into an agreement, intergovernmental agreement with the county on how to do the roads. And this will, since the city council's up and running, formed, this will put this city on the same footing as every other city in the county or the state.
Are there questions of the author? What's the pleasure of the committee? Is there a motion and a second to do pass? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It passes on to Rules, and we would have liked to have loaded it up, but we just couldn't find anything that fit.
I was wondering if we were going to do that. Thank you very much. And Eden, do you have a house number? Eden, did you get a house number?
What? Yes. Scaffold from Tucker. Okay, carry that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
All right, the next bill is SB 133. This is Senator Larry Walker's bill. We're operating off of LC 430704 ERS. Representative Blackman is going to present the bill, and he is going to be assisted by Chairman Jason Shaw, who has a rider on it. And so, if you will, Section 2 is actually the original bill, I think. And so if you would present that very briefly, and then Chairman Shaw can present Section 1, which we have already heard before. Push your number.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As mentioned, the second section of this bill would further exempt from the corporate net worth tax those corporations that have a corporate net worth of less than $100,000. And I will defer to Chairman Shaw for the remainder of the substitute.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. The section that the chairman was referring to is what like you said, is what you've seen before. And it was the same as House Bill 314, Georgia Agribusiness and Rural Jobs Act. And we passed that unanimously in the House, with one no vote. And so we're attaching it here. The Senate did make a few tweaks to it, and I was in favor of those. Really just as the bill moved through, continued to try to tighten this bill up as much as we can to make sure that that the intent of the legislation, which is creating jobs in rural Georgia by providing more access to capital but we've just put some more, mechanisms in there to make sure that if the jobs that are not, if the job numbers, if we don't hit those numbers in one of these projects, that we can go back and recapture some of the tax credits as a penalty. So, it's, like I said, this thing's written extremely tight. I think that as we moved it through, it's gotten even better. So I'd be glad to answer any questions, or if the chairman wants me to explain it further, but it's the same thing that we did before. It's tax credits, creating a rural fund meant to invest in small businesses in the rural parts of the state.
Representative Corbett.
Thank you, Representative Shaw, Chairman Shaw, for bringing this bill. And would you consider this more than just a feel-good bill for rural Georgia?
This is a lot more than just a feel-good bill. Thank you for the question, but I think it will make a lot of people in rural Georgia feel good when they've got a job to go to. But yeah, this is a very serious piece of legislation that is very complicated, but at the same time, this addresses a major issue that's not just faced in rural Georgia. I told y'all before, this is a problem in rural America. And I appreciate y'all's consideration of this important measure. And if it does make you feel good, then that's even better.
Are there any other questions? Representative Williamson.
So again, thank you, Chairman Shaw, for bringing this legislation. So the changes you made were, one of which was taking the population from 75,000 down to 50,000.
Yeah, those were some changes made in the Senate, which they decided to take it from the population, the county population, from 75 to 50. So you're really focused on the even more rural counties. They also put a cap on caps the distributions to the rural fund for various operating costs and expenses. These rural fund managers, and I'll add too, these fund managers are approved through either Small Business Administration or USDA. It's not easy for these folks to get set up as a rural business investment company. It's a very regulated environment, but they do have expenses. They would have, when they go out and they have a loan closing for a large project like this, then they're gonna incur pretty large expenses for legal fees and accountants and so forth. So what they've done here is they've capped those operating costs and expenses at 2%.
And so further to Representative Corbett's point, then this would make it even more focused on rural Georgia, which is in alignment with the Speaker of the House's intentions to focus on rural Georgia and grow jobs in the vulnerable part of the state.
The gentleman is right on in what you say there. This is just narrows that focus to even your more rural counties.
Thank you for the measure.
Any other questions? What is the pleasure of the committee? Second. There's a motion and a second. Is there discussion? All right, all in favor of House Bill 133, say aye. I mean Senate Bill, I'm sorry, 133, say aye. Any opposed? Passes on to rules, and thank you for presenting the bill.
Thank you, members.
And we are adjourned, and do not forget that we will be meeting immediately after House rules.